This is Derek. He's such a lovely little dog, bless him. And I named him. I raised £2,000 and I was able to name a puppy. And he's being trained by medical detection dogs to be an assistance alert dog. He might be something like a diabetic alert dog, and he's helping to save lives. He's one of many that medical detection dogs have managed to put on a programme using fundraising. Their HQ is just outside Milton Keynes, and every so often he comes down to say hello. This is where they do all the cancer detection training as well. Now, Dr. Claire Guest is the co-founder, and this is where she's based. Come on.
Medical Detection Dogs is a charity that started in 2008 after we discovered that dogs could smell human disease. Now, the work at start was from anecdotes. These were stories of pet owners that were saying that they believed that dogs had warned them about diseases, often cancer. So we did a study that was published in 2004 in the British Medical Journal, the first study in the world to prove that dogs could indeed smell cancer, could be trained to smell cancer. Since that time, our work has really developed. We've got further studies now looking at how well dogs can detect cancer and how reliably. These include prostate cancer and breast cancer. But we've also got another arm to our work now, our medical assistance dogs arm, where dogs are trained to work alongside individuals as a guide dog would, but they warn them of an oncoming medical emergency. So the work we do, most of our clients have very aggressive type 1 diabetes. We found remarkably that dogs can smell human blood sugar. They can smell when it's low and they can smell when it's high. So we train the dogs to alert their owners when their blood sugars are out of the normal range, and remind them to get help to either take on sugar or take more insulin.
Now, how much does it cost to train a dog for medical alert assistance?
So the medical alert assistance dogs cost us over £11,000 to train. And bear in mind that many of these individuals would have been going into hospital every week with their conditions prior to the dog being placed with them. So it's easy to see how they save the NHS a huge amount of money. But in addition, of course, they give people their lives back. These are people that were falling into comas, sometimes on a daily basis, a very frightening and lonely place to be.
How does fundraising help for that?
Fundraising is essential. At the moment we get no government grants, so we hope that one day perhaps our dogs would be considered part of something that an individual could get to help them deal with their life-threatening disease. But at the moment, without fundraising, we're unable to do our work, and we're unable to save the lives of many. We believe that our cancer detection work, what our dogs are teaching us, will go on to lead to an early diagnosis that is non-invasive and will save many, many thousands of lives in the future.
Is that what's going on at the other end of the building?
Absolutely. So in the biodetection area, all our dogs live in homes. We have a no kennel policy. We love to live and work with our dogs. They come in the day, Daisy and Midas, and they sniff samples and they tell us if the cancer is there in the sample.
From hospital samples?
Yes, so all the samples at the moment come from a hospital. They come from our local hospital, the Bucks NHS Trust, and the Milton Keynes University Hospital. So at the moment it's in the research phase, but we're very hopeful after the next 3 years we will actually be able to offer a service to people where when they go to their doctor, if for example they have symptoms, then the consultant can send us a sample and our dogs would let them know if they could smell cancer in the sample.
And what was your own story?
So my own story, it was very unusual. I was working actually on prostate and bladder cancer samples with urine with Daisy here, and it was a twist in the tail, if you like, because Daisy was working very well on cancer samples. She's a very experienced and good dog, almost a senior consultant you'd say now. She's 12 years old, and she started to become anxious around me and stare at me and nudge at me. And long story short, she drew my attention to a lump I hadn't realised was there, and I was diagnosed with a very, very deep-seated early-stage breast cancer. I was treated. I had it's now 5 years on, and I'm lucky to be here because of Daisy, and this inspired me to keep going. At first there was a huge amount of scepticism about this work, but after Daisy did that for me, I carried on believing that this work was going to make a difference.
So what happens in the biodetection room?
So this is where the dogs do their training and the testing, and on this line what you're seeing is a dog in training. One of these samples is from somebody who has cancer. It's only a 0.5 ml of urine, but if she can smell the cancer from that drop of urine, she'll stop and sit beside it. She'll get rewarded for that. This is how they learn.
And parts per?
We don't know exactly what we're working on here because, of course, urine, we've got no way of measuring what the level of cancer in the urine sample would be, but we do know that dogs in this room will work down to parts per trillion. So we're talking tiny, tiny amounts, probably a drop in 2 Olympic swimming pools.
So I'm Alice, I'm a trainer with Medical Detection Dogs, so I'm training dogs like Rolo here. He's only about 10 months old, so still quite early on in his training. When they're about 14 to 18 months old, that's when they go out with the client, when they're matched, and then they go into the scent training, and it's sort of ongoing from there, but the dogs are still alerting daily even when they're in training.
You're getting too big to hold now, 20 weeks old. I won't be able to pick you up next time, will I? Now listen, maybe you won't be able to raise £2,000 and name a dog like Derek. Great if you can. But actually, and it's after my dad, by the way, my late dad, bless him, poor dog. But actually, if you just do something like £1 a week to sponsor one of the puppies, maybe get one of the collection tins and put it in your local club or at work or stand on a street corner, possibly with a tin, preferably. It could actually be you take part in one of their sponsored events. There's loads of things you can do, and lots of details are on medicaldetectiondogs.org.uk. So join in if you can. The charity's so worth it.